A standing ovation for one of Georgia's greatest basketball players in its history. J.J. Frazier walks off the basketball court one final time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red and Black Final Chat. I'm your host, Alexander T. McCready. Alongside me, our men's basketball beat reporters, Jed May, Nathan Berg. As you can see, somebody stole our desk. So we're just going to sit down and relax a little bit. After all, it is the first final chat after spring break. I know I got my tan on. Jed May obviously did not, nor did Nathan Berg.
Some of us had to work on spring break.
I can still count myself as the tannest one in the room, so take that. Just like how the Belmont Bruins took it to Georgia today, they defeated the number 2 seed Bulldogs 78-69 in the first round of the National Invitation Tournament. Now, if Georgia had won this game, it would have been their 20th win of the season. That would have marked the first time Georgia had ever won 20 straight games in 4 straight seasons. But unfortunately, that did not happen. I think even more unfortunately, though, it's not. J.J. Frazier is not going to suit up for this team anymore. It's done. It's over. I'll ask you guys, just what's it been like covering him this year? He's just been such an incredible player for Georgia. We'll get to his accolades here in a second, but just, even off the court in the interview room, whether he's dominated your discussion or not, what's it been like covering him this year?
Well, that's the thing, in the interview room has been some of the times where, he's been at the most memorable, it was right here in front of us right here where after a loss to, I'm not sure who, maybe Alabama, he took the blame, put it solely upon himself. And, after the loss to Kentucky, after interviews, you see him, cramping up, could hardly walk out through the exit tunnel right there. And that's just those 2 moments along with, the other times where he's, taking responsibility and everything. I think that really, sums up what it's like to cover him this season. He hasn't always been, when Yante was here, he was kind of, not a sidekick to say, but it wasn't all on his shoulders. And then down the stretch here, it's been all JJ. And those 2 moments really personify, what, he gave everything to the school while he was here.
Yeah, he's been a joy to watch. He's just done some incredible things. The way he reacted to Yante's injury was inspiring. Honestly, there's no other word for it. And, a moment from today that's going to be forgotten in the loss is right before halftime, immediately after the buzzer, he heaved a full court shot, swishes, didn't even go off the backboard. And, one of the reporters to my left goes, man, there's just no one else like him. And that's there are no other words to describe it. I can't find the correct words to describe how amazing it has been to watch him every single game this season.
Now, I've been covering this team for 2 years. I covered them last year. I was one of the beat reporters up here last year. And just his demeanor all the time was just unbelievable. He was like a coach out there. There was nothing that ever seemed to faze him, even when he could be unbelievably frustrated. He was calm. He was collected. He was so even-keeled. And that's, Mark Fox said it best. That's what you look for in a leader. And he tried to cultivate a young man in J.J. Frazier, who had some problems early in his Georgia basketball career, into just not only an incredible player, but an upstanding person in the time I've gotten to cover him. I think, we'll let you take a listen to it. Here's what Fox had to say about J.J. Frazier and just his whole career here at Georgia.
It's what you want to be able to do in coaching. This experience is about turning young men into men. These kids are like family, and at the end, there's lots of love, and so to experience that with JJ and the other seniors has been remarkable. And JJ, he had some growing up to do when he came, but he certainly did it, and he's left a competitive fire in our team that, much like Contavious did, that I think you'll see in the future.
So Frazier's going to finish top 10 in Georgia in season points, career points, 3-point field goals made, free throws made, steals, and assists. And he also made, which we didn't realize this, he made 45 straight free throws down the stretch before he finally missed one tonight against Belmont, which is not only a UGA record, but it's the second longest streak in SEC history. And this is all for a 5'10", 155-pound kid out of Glenville, Georgia, who everybody passed on except for Mark Fox. And you can probably say he's going to go down as one of Georgia's greatest basketball players ever.
Without a doubt, for sure.
So a couple quick notes about Georgia's loss here tonight. Belmont shot 14 of 31 from three-pointer, which really turned out to be the difference in the game. That's the most three-pointers and the most three-point attempts Georgia's given up this entire season. Also, a quick note, Yonte Maiden and Juwan Parker were both out with injuries. For Maiden, he's still been dealing with that knee injury he suffered against Kentucky back in February. And Parker actually had been playing through a torn right Achilles for the last couple of weeks. He's been powering through that. I'll start with the three-pointers. It turned out to be the difference of this game. How was Belmont able to establish just great three-point shooting?
I mean, especially early in the second half, it just seemed they had an open three-point look on every single possession. I think they made 6 straight threes to open up the second half, and that took their lead from 3 up to 12 or 13, I think. And Georgia never got closer than 8 after that. So that stretch right at the start of the second half, where they're just knocking on 3 after 3 after 3, it was really pivotal, and it really kind of put. You can't really say put the game out of reach because there was still, the whole second half left to play. But it put Belmont firmly in control, and, it was a grasp they never let go of.
Yeah, and I think that was an area where Parker and Maton's absence was felt maybe more than anywhere else. I know Parker is one of the most complete defensive players on the team, and it's been a problem. It was a problem when Maton went down. A lot of these bigs, I know Derek Ogbede has taken many strides this season, but a lot of these bigs just don't really – they can't close on the perimeter like Maton can. So
yeah, they're not used to it. So 19 and 15. Obviously, they didn't get to the 20 wins. 2 seed in the NIT, the National Invitation Tournament. We talked to Tyree Crump after the game. Well, at least I did, and you could sense some frustration in him that this team just did not live up to expectations this year. Covering this team, did you feel like we would be in this position covering this team when it was all said and done?
I mean, I think in terms of the final record, you probably expected the team to end up a little better. Obviously, at the start of the season, an NCAA tournament bid was sort of expected. But I think in terms of performance, I think this was a team that played about as well as people thought. We've talked about this, after seeing every game this season, you could have beat Kentucky twice, you could have beat Florida once, South Carolina twice. They played well. It just didn't. I feel like this is a team that might be better than their record says. By how much, I don't really know, but I feel like this is a team that's better than a 19 and 15 record.
Mm-hmm. They had their fair share of unlucky breaks and then some, clearly. I think their record could have been better, but I think it was a pretty big ask to see them outperform the team from last year, especially with such inexperience in the backcourt. I mean, you're losing Kenny Gaines and Charles Mann, 2 seniors who were the leaders of your team. That leaves just J.J. Frazier as an experienced guard, and Juwan Parker, who'd spent much of the last few seasons on the bench with injury. So there was a lot of inexperience there in the backcourt, and I think that was just, in the end, too much of an ask for Georgia to overcome what they'd accomplished the last few seasons.
Now, Georgia is going to lose one of their arguably the most experienced person on this team in J.J. Frazier at the guard position. So what do you guys feel like this team is going to – because to be honest, we really haven't gotten to see a whole lot of what this team might look like without J.J. Frazier. We got to see what it looked like without Yonte Maiden, and for a majority of it, it wasn't awful. It wasn't the best that Georgia could be, but it wasn't awful. Now with J.J. Frazier leaving, how is this team going to look next year?
Well – I think a lot of what this team is going to do next year is going to depend on the guards. You have Turtle Jackson coming back, who really, I don't feel like has really significantly improved since last season. You have Tyree Crump, who's shown flashes, and you've shown Jordan Harris, who's shown flashes. So you've got 3 guards, and who really fits in where, who's going to run the point, who's going to, Fox is, praised Jordan Harris, basketball IQ at times, but he's such a good spot-up shooter. Do you really want to have him running the point and stuff? It's going to be interesting to see how the backcourt puzzle kind of comes together. Who starts, who plays how much. It's going to be a determining factor in how far this team goes next year.
I'll tell you exactly what it's going to be like. It's going to be much less fun to watch. He talked about the backcourt. I'll talk about the front court. I know Yonte Maton's clearly going to be, with J.J. Gone, he's clearly the best player on this team. Derek Ogbede has made many strides. If Mike Edwards can make that jump that Ogbede made this season, this is going to be a team that just feeds the post all game. They're going to have great depth there, and I think that's where they're going to score most of their points, and they could be really successful there.
Yeah, we shall see. Only time will tell. It's been a fun year. It's been a fun year covering this team with you guys. So to wrap it all up, we at the end of the show, we always like to do the top dog of the game. However, this time, because the season is over. We're going to do the top dog of the season. So, Jed, I'll start with you. Who's your top dog of this season?
Well, he got in at the end of the first half today. I'm going to have to go with Brendan. Deontay Maton, I mean, coming into this year, he was a guy who had a good year last year, and he was kind of expected to break out even more than he did last year, I guess. And he really did that. He was Georgia's leading scorer for basically the entire season until he got hurt. And, he developed himself into one of the premier post players in the entire country, really. And, next year he's going to be the senior leader on this team. And I think if he gets 500-ish points, he'll be in second place on the Georgia all-time scoring list, which is amazing because coming into the season he was nowhere near, anywhere. Like he's almost got J.J. Frazier at this point, and Frazier's had a whole other season under his belt. So I think, Deontay Maton and what he's done this season is my top dog of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with probably Houston. No, also kidding.
You guys are full of jokes today, aren't you?
The other clear. I'm just gonna take the other easy option. J.J. Frazier is the heart and soul of this team. He is the most fun player to watch on this team. He probably, other than Brandon Young, had to overcome the biggest biological, detriment on this team, being just 5'10", which, it kind of, at this point, I feel like we shouldn't even be talking about his height anymore just because of what he's accomplished. But it's right there in your face. But, he just, especially when Deontay Maton went down, the things he did to keep this team in tournament contention till the very end was crazy, that they could lose that much production and still be successful. So got to give to J.J. Frazier this year.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the best 1-2 punches, J.J. Frazier and Deontay Maton in all of NCAA. And here we have one of the best 1-2 punches in basketball coverage for the Red and Black ever, in Jed May and Nathan Berg. For these two, it's been a pleasure. I have enjoyed it thoroughly. I am Alexander T. McCready's. We love you guys. I just want to let you know that. We're going to have plenty of other Red and Black final chats with many other sports. Unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to get to see these two guys again until maybe spring football starts.
I'll be there.
He'll be there. I'll be there too. Hopefully you'll be there as well. It's been a blast. Thank you all very much for joining us. Have a good night.